Arturo, thank you very much. And I always look to find out if that home in Mount Washington is voted to, so I know if I got that vote or not. And as much as I'm glad that Arturo says I have the ear of the leadership, I'd rather have their heart and their votes. But it's one of those things where you hope you can do as much as you can with it. Welcome everyone who is here. You can't be Latinos if you're from places like Kansas and Alaska and I'm to Rhode Island. This is the new America, right? I applaud you. Congratulations. It is so uplifting to see so many people from so many different parts of the country here. We're obviously accustomed to having folks from California, from Arizona, from Nuevo Mexico, from Texas, New York, Florida. But when you hear folks coming from Rhode Island and Kansas and all these other states, it just makes you go, it's true, we are everywhere. So it's good. It's good. And I'm glad that you're active. I'm glad you're getting involved. To Arturo and all the folks at NALEO, William, everybody who makes NALEO such an effective organization for us here in Washington, D.C., we say thank you to them as well. I apologize for being a little late. We just finished votes. And it's like that. That's the way Washington is. But it's better to be able to say you've done something good and come a little late than not show up at all. So I still got my vote from Los Angeles, and I hope that you all are enjoying this opportunity to be here in Washington, D.C. One, I hope you all will take advantage of the fact that there are some 25 Latinos in the House of Representatives, 3 Latinos in the U.S. Senate, and get to know us. And count on us to be not just friend, but also supporter and colleague and collaborator in whatever you're doing. Especially because in the case at least of this subject of education, you're working very hard for what we're trying to do as well, which is to make sure that every child in this country, every child, I didn't say every citizen child, I said every child in this country has a chance to make it. We're going through some tough times in this Congress. I don't know if you were paying a whole lot of attention to this because right now we're talking education, but a couple of weeks ago in healthcare, we had a bill that passed in the House and in the Senate that provided healthcare to 10 million children who did not have health insurance but for this program called the State Health Insurance Program for Kids, State Health Children's Program. And we sent that to the President. And unfortunately he said, can't do it. He said it costs too much. It's too ideological. A bill that would give 10 million kids access to health care. Over the next year, those 10 million kids could have access to health care with that bill for the same cost of 40 days of our adventure in Iraq. 10 million children. With a stroke of a pen, the President threw that bill away. About 33% of those kids that would benefit directly are Latino kids. And as mightily as we tried, we could not get in the bill, believe it or not, kids who are here legally, but not yet citizens. They got thrown away before the bill even got to the President. That's because in the Senate, we couldn't get 60 votes. There was a majority for it. We just couldn't get 60 votes, the supermajority out of 100. And that's because in the Senate, the Republicans are requiring that every vote that comes before the Senate floor has to be passed with a supermajority of 60 because of the cloture rule that they have under the procedural guidelines that they work under, which is near impossible with only 51 Democrats. You always have to get 9 or 10 Republicans in order to pass any legislation, which is not the way the Senate meant to operate, which was not the purpose of the filibuster, which was not the purpose of these cloture votes, but that's the way they use it, to the point where legal immigrant children were excluded from the bill. The House bill had legal immigrant children included. Senate would not include it. And now, of course, the President has vetoed it. 10 million kids for 1 year for the price we're going to pay for the next 40 days in Iraq. So this is real. And this is personal. And so that's why we're here. Because it's not just there. You know the difficulties we're having with No Child Left Behind. How do you incorporate English learners into the process? How do you make sure that the curriculum that our schools are going to implement includes our kids, that it's developed in a way that is culturally and historically relevant to our experiences. We need your fight. We need your help. We need to make sure that you're standing there firmly to make sure that as we go out there and say, no mas, unless it includes our kids, that you're there saying the same thing, and that we will succeed in making sure that all of our kids are included. But those are fights that are to be had, and we need your help. And we want to be there to help you because we know you're carrying the ball day in, day out when it comes to educating children in this country. And so you need to let us know what we should know as we're trying to pass legislation that helps you, not hurts you. Oftentimes we get in the way. Oftentimes we pass mandates, but not the money that you need to fulfill the mandate. We need to find out from you what works and what doesn't. And once we do that, hopefully we can say that we made some real progress for America's kids. But there's a lot to do. I want to mention two things that I hope you'll put on your radar screen. One is a bill that I have which calls for the establishment of a commission to explore the idea of constructing a museum, which would be called the National Museum of the American Latino here in Washington, D.C. If you had a chance to visit Washington, D.C. and go down the National Mall, visit the monuments, the Lincoln Memorial, World War II Memorial, all the different memorials that are fabulous. They strike your heart. The Vietnam Memorial, Korean War Memorial. Then you have a chance to go to the museums, Air and Space, American History, Natural History. You go to the National Gallery of Art. It's gorgeous. I always tell people, if you want to know what it's like to be an American or what it means to be an American, walk down the National Mall. Spend a little time, and you'll have the best opportunity to understand what has made us a country. But there's one problem. We now have